this if we can get enough support for it. It is a massive effort. Please understand, those of you who run businesses know what I'm talking about. A 5-year project, you bet your life it's a lot. Okay, we are going back now to the 8th episode, as done by Ken Burns. It is the final months of 1864. Lee is still stuck in Richmond, Grant in front of him. Sherman breaks away from Hood and marches to the sea. Hood goes to Nashville and is defeated by General Thomas. It's late 1864 on the Civil War here on Channel 9.
Tonight's broadcasting on KCTS 9 is made possible in part by a grant from the physicians and staff of the Laboratory of Pathology of Seattle, providing pathology and laboratory services to the medical community and their patients in Seattle and the Pacific Northwest.
We hope you've enjoyed the Civil War. There is one more section, one last final convulsion of a nation in Civil War. A magnificent effort on the part of Ken Burns to bring to you something that has been a mystery to most people who studied it for so long, and suddenly it is there and we can see it and we can understand it and we can watch its natural progression. The premiums that we have to offer, we have the book of the Civil War at the $150 level. That is very important support to Channel 9, by the way, and that's what we're asking you to do right now, is to call and support public television and support this quality, this level of quality that we have right here. At the $75 level, we have the compact disc, and that's of the audio track of the tremendous music, and what an impression and what an effect the music made into this series. At the $45 level, we have the audio cassette, and at the $500 level, we have all 9 of the videos. That's 11.5 hours of this magnificent series that took 5 years to put together. As I said, there is one more section, which means that we're only going to talk to you one more time. Now, that's another way of saying that this is truly getting down to your last chance to put your subscription dollars next to what has been considered to be absolutely the finest thing ever on the public television service, and possibly the best thing ever on television. It is an opportunity that you make a statement not just to the public television station that you're watching, KCTS, but also in your own home, that this is the quality you want on your TV set. And you send a message all over the place, folks. You think the commercial stations aren't watching to see how we do on a subscription drive next to a program like this? Because if they see success, they say, hey, people will support this kind of quality, and maybe we should up our level of quality a little bit. And when you consider the number of hours that if not ourselves, at least members of our family are sitting in front of that flickering little screen, maybe it's important that we have that level of quality. And if it is, you're going to go to the phones right now. We have got beaucoup phones available right now. Please go to the phone. Every one of them should be ringing, shouldn't they? Didn't you enjoy it? Didn't you like it? Aren't you willing to support it? Call us now. Right now.
Thank you, George. And when you do call right now, why don't you use your credit card? You'll become an instant subscriber to Channel 9. And it's a very easy thing to do. Just call the number you see on your screen, tell one of our great phone volunteers that you would like to subscribe to Channel 9, and say, I'd like to put it on my credit card. And they'll ask which one, and these are the ones. American Express, Visa, MasterCard, or Discover. You will get your premium, the premiums that George described a few moments ago, as rapidly as possible. You won't have to wait, and Channel 9 won't have to waste money sending you an invoice, and then you'll have to write a check someday and then send it back. Use your credit card, and we will get back to more of the Civil War in just a few minutes, so call right now.
Thanks, Tony. You know, we've talked about tonight's programming, but there's so much every single week on Channel 9. And one of the ways that you can kind of find your way around the different programming is if you become a subscriber, you automatically become a subscriber to 9 Magazine. 9 Magazine comes out every single month and provides you the opportunity of learning more about the different programming and gives you insights and special features. And for a lot of us, we end up by using our video recorder at home, and let's face it, you can't always be in front of the television. It gives you a chance to program some of the things that you maybe can't see, whether it's maybe the Frugal Gourmet on the weekend, or as we talked about earlier, there's actually a Faulty Towers Marathon this Saturday afternoon. So this Channel 9 magazine can come into your home. You can do your setting of your VCR, and you can also identify the things that you'd like to watch. There's a lot of volunteers here tonight that are ready to take your call. Please give us a call right now. Toll-free number that you see on the screen is available both in British Columbia and in Washington State. So please give us a call. Go to your phones right now.
To cut off Atlanta's rail links with Richmond, Sherman sent 35-year-old General James McPherson's army east of the city. McPherson was a special favorite of Sherman's, handsome, warm-hearted, intelligent. If he lives, Sherman predicted, he'll outdistance Grant and myself. Northern papers cheered the Union advance, and daily predicted Atlanta's fall. But on July 22nd, Hood rushed to counter the new Union threat. The Battle of Atlanta had begun.
It's one thing I would really love to be able to say right now, and that's if you get a busy signal, call back, but we've got some phones available. Not a heck of a lot. I mean, those of you who are calling, bless your hearts, that is absolutely wonderful. I do want to repeat something that I said earlier, because I honestly believe this is to be true based on just some information I've obtained during this last segment. This will probably be your last opportunity to pledge your dollars next to this program, which is just another way of saying it is your last opportunity to pledge your dollars next to a program of the very highest quality in the history of television. If you qualify for a premium, great, you will enjoy it. At the $150 level, we'll be happy to send you the one-volume, 418-page book, which was put together by Jeffrey Ward and Ken Burns. That's at the $150 level. We have a copy of the soundtrack, that haunting, wonderful, inspiring, and sad music all in the same time. At the $75 level, the compact disc. At the $45 level, the audio cassette. And at the $500 level, which is very serious support for Channel 9's programming fund, that's all 9 of the videos, all 11 and a half hours of the presentation, and you will have it in your home. I have watched it 4 times. I admit fully and proudly of being a Civil War buff, not an expert by any stretch of the imagination. I went home last night during that last segment that we showed, and I sat down and watched it until it was over and saw things I had never seen before. It is that kind of series, and that's what we're asking you to support. And right now, I think I can say, if you get a busy signal, call back. You're marvelous. Just keep calling. It is really important that we make a statement that quality of this kind and expense will be supported by the people who receive it in their homes. That's you. Call us.
That's right, George. This is your television station. When we invite you to call in and support Channel 9, we're not asking you to do it for Channel 9. We're asking you to call in so that you can see the types of programs that you're used to on Channel 9. Channel 9 exists for you and listens to you. The management here pays attention on pledge nights like tonight. The Channel 9 folks see how things go on a night like when a major program like the Civil War is on. When there's an increased response on a pledge night like tonight, you can bet there'll be more programs like the Civil War in the future. So please call the number you see right here on your screen. Call and support your television station. The people who you see behind me and all around our studio answering the phones tonight are giving up their evening because they support Channel 9, and they are here for you. These people are not paid. They are here only to speak to you on the phone. Great folks from the consultants and actuarial people, Howard Johnson and Company. Also phone volunteers from the Pacific Northwest Four-Wheel Drive Association, Region 1. They are here live in Seattle right now to talk to you. And hello, they're on the phone. We would like to say hello to you right now on the telephone. Please call us now. Become a part of the Channel 9 family. Call now.
Well, like Tony, I'm a volunteer here tonight, too, along with all the people that are answering your calls. And there may be some familiar voices that you're hearing on the Civil War. Some of the voices that you do hear are some of the actors like Jason Robards, Colleen Dewhurst, Jeremy Irons, and Morgan Freeman, all who have lent their voices to this fabulous series. But tonight's program is just an example. It's 1/365th of what you get in an entire year with Channel 9. The diverse programming, whether it's children's programming, public affairs, educational programming. Having 3 daughters, I know that there's a tremendous amount of programming that's out there. We encourage you to go to your phone right now and give us a call.
New York City contemplated secession from the Union, too, and they wanted to be declared an open city there was a great deal of resentment of the influx of blacks and a lot of resistance to the draft because men could get better paying jobs than they'd ever had, and the last thing they wanted was to go to the war. There's a good deal of resentment, too, that if you could scrape up $300, you could be exempt. And all those resentments flared up into what's called the New York draft riots.
George was mentioning some of the voices that were used to play the characters, if you will, by voice. Sam Waterston was the voice of Abraham Lincoln, or is the voice of Abraham Lincoln. We have one more segment to go. And there was an interesting review written about this program. It said, you may not, even at the end of the series, accept Sam Waterston's voice as that of Abraham Lincoln. But there's no going back to Raymond Massey either. And that's, I think, kind of sums up what this whole series has done. It has put a new perspective, a new understanding on the event, the single event that controlled the history of the United States for over 100 years. As I mentioned during the first night, the majority, vast majority of our presidents before the firing on Fort Sumter were from the South. After the firing of Fort Sumter, it was 100 years until the nomination and the election of Lyndon Baines Johnson. We have premiums for you, and if you qualify for them, I'll get it out right. You'll be very happy you did, because they're nice premiums. At the $150 level, we have the Civil War book, the 418-page companion to Ken Burns' series, and it is a magnificent book. I've got it sitting right here in front of me, and it is a nice, big, wonderful book, and I'm about halfway through it, folks. At the $75 level, we have the compact disc of the soundtrack of this series. At the $45 level, we have the audio cassette. And at the $500 level, we have the set of 9 videos. That's 11 and a half hours of viewing, and yeah, that's a full day, isn't it? But it is the entire history, and it becomes a total resource in your home. A lot of phones available right now. That was a great surge, folks, but we need another one. So all of you people out there who have sat and watched this series and have enjoyed it and know the quality and have an appreciation of what it took to put this together. 5 years of just, and creating the whole concept of how to present history in this manner, which is very much Ken Burns. If that's worthy of support from your home, then at whatever level possible, you call and support it. And if you can qualify for one of the premiums, great. If you can't, call and support it. You're making a statement about what you want in your home on your TV set. Make that statement.
Thank you, George. When you make that statement, use your credit card. It's tax time right now. If you've been looking through your charitable donations and deductibles for the past year, Channel 9 will accommodate some of the things your accountant may be looking for. The credit cards you saw there, use your credit card. That little credit card receipt will come in just as handy as a canceled check will when it comes to be tax time next year. And using your credit card saves Channel 9 money. Channel 9 doesn't have to send you a notice from tonight, and then you send a check back, and then Channel 9 sends you something back. You'll become an instant subscriber. Use your credit card right now. If you are feeling the passion that went into producing the Civil War program, as George was talking about a moment ago, if you're fascinated by the stories, the people, the humanity behind the event, the Civil War, and the series, the Civil War, then respond on the telephone right now and make your call.
As mentioned earlier, there's only 3 pledge breaks tonight. And sometimes you may wonder, why is it so important that I get involved? Well, it's very important because a full 2/3 of the income coming into Channel 9 really comes from you, the subscriber. Yes, there are other portions that come in, as you can see on the screen, through different grants and different programs and underwriting programs and so on. But it's very important that you, the viewer, give us a call now, because 61% of the income comes from you. And of that, about 40% of the subscribers come from British Columbia, 60% from Washington State. So go to your phone right now. It's a toll-free number. It's tax deductible. The volunteers here tonight will provide you with any information that you need. You can charge it. We encourage you to go to your phone right now, as the volunteers are there ready to answer any questions. Just phone 1-800-443-1999. It's important that you contribute and become a volunteer to Channel 9 and ensure that this type of quality programming continues on. Because if you enjoy public broadcasting, you have to get involved, and do that by just going to the phone and calling right now.
Ken Burns just made a statement to the press as to why he was staying with public television as opposed to going with several offers that he's had with cable, commercial television, and several other private sources. And his reason for staying was because of the freedom that he had to bring to the American and to the North American people, if you will, the truth about what has happened in history. He said, do you have any idea how rare that is for a historian? So often history is written by the winners. That doesn't always make it true. It just means that the winners wrote the history. I think Ken Burns should be congratulated for going and finding a Southern historian of the caliber of a Shelby Foote to add that missing segment, if you will, from most of the histories that you and I have had access to, with the possible exception of Douglas Southall Freeman's Lee, the histories that we've had access to all our lives. This is a television event, and we ask you to support it quite simply so that we can have more television events. It's not that tough to figure out that if the support is there, if the people want it in public television, then you're going to get more of it. And if not, then there will be considerations, and all of a sudden the budget becomes so important. Make the quality important. That's your decision, and that's how you do it, by going to the phone. There's the number right there. You dial that one, you'll get the job done.
You are going to get a lot of satisfaction out of being a subscriber to Channel 9. If you sit in your living room or wherever you're watching Channel 9 right now and say, well, that's a neat thing they're doing. Yeah, I always liked Channel 9. Or if you're watching the Civil War program and saying, yeah, that's a heck of a show. They put a lot of work into that. All of those comments are wonderful and appreciated, but they don't do a whole lot of good for you or for Channel 9 when it comes to the bottom line. A night like tonight is here for one reason, and that is to get more funds so that your station can do even greater things. So go to the phone. Go to your telephone right now before we get back into the final installment of the Civil War, and call the number that you see on your screen. Become a subscriber to Channel 9 right now. No doubt you've seen many a pledge drive before. If you haven't gone to the phone before, or for whatever reason, don't be shy now. We really want to hear from you tonight. It's an incredible evening that we're having so far with pledges. We want to put your name and your address on our pledge rolls tonight. Please subscribe now.
Most of the segments, I think like 7 or 8 of them, are approximately 1 hour in length. That's another way of saying you've got about an hour to make up your mind as to whether or not you are going to be one of the people who go to the phone and support Channel 9 in its presentation of the Civil War during the subscription drive. Because we are going back to the final segment. And we would ask that during that segment, call our volunteers. They stay in the studio. They watch the program along with you and me, but they answer your telephone calls and take your subscriptions too. They're wonderful people. Please take advantage of just a magnificent, maybe last chance opportunity to support the very best that television has ever presented. We go back now for the final convulsion of this terrible time in the history of the United States. Appomattox is over. The Confederacy is cracking apart. Jefferson Davis is captured. Johnson surrenders to Sherman. And Abraham Lincoln is assassinated. As we conclude the final episode of Ken Burns' The Civil War here on Channel 9. Please call us. Please support it.
Tonight's broadcasting on KCTS 9 is made possible in part by a grant from the physicians and staff of the Laboratory of Pathology of Seattle, providing pathology and laboratory services to the medical community and their patients in Seattle and the Pacific Northwest.
The Civil War continues.